Howdy everybody, welcome to the Hoosier Hillbilly. My name's Dan. On today's video, we're going to crack open my 1995 Ford F-150 pickup truck engine. It's a 302. I suspect it hydro-locked on me and bent a rod. Went to start it one day and it cranked over about a half turn and it locked up, and I kept fiddling with it, hitting the key, and it finally cranked over and fired up, and then it started knocking. So I believe it bent the rod, and the bottom of the piston is hitting the throw of the crank. So we're going to tear into it today and see if we can figure out how that antifreeze got in there to hydro-lock it. So first thing we're going to do is pop off these valve covers. Got an array of tools over here ready to go. So let's get this thing tore apart. Okay, with the valve covers out of the way, now we're going to get the intake off here. When I pull the intake off, I'm going to look real close at the gaskets and the runners to see if that's how the coolant got in there. That's what I'm suspecting at this point. We'll see. Not enough power with that. I'm going to bring out the big guns. Okay, we're starting out bad. Already got one bolt broke off. Tip for any beginners out there that are doing a job tearing an engine apart. One thing you might want to do, like if you notice up here, you got two studs that stick up here, and then around where your water pump is and timing cover, you've got some regular bolts, and then you got bolts that got studs on them that hold some of the brackets. If you are taking this apart, and it's going to maybe be a little while before you put it back together, or even if you're going to put it back together the next day, you may not remember which position these went into. So get out your phone and take you a picture of it. That way you got reference of where each of these go. Another thing that you might want to do is, if you don't have a real good memory, is get you some Ziploc bags. And when you take out your bolts, like your valve cover bolts, you put them in a Ziploc bag, and then you take a piece of paper and you write valve cover bolts on it, and you shove that in the bag. And then same thing with your intake bolts. That way you know which bolts go where, and you have easy reference for it. So, okay, I got that out of the way. Now I'm going to get this last bolt out, and we can pop this intake up off here. Well, I'm not seeing any definite signs of any antifreeze getting from here down into here. The gaskets actually look better than what I thought they would. So our next possible cause will be a blown head gasket, and worst case scenario, a cracked head. So now we're going to get the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these rocker arms off and push rods, get them out of the way. Then we'll just go ahead and pop these heads off with the exhaust manifold still on. I'll take them off later. I've got some bolts that I'm going to have to cut off over there. They're in pretty bad shape. So without further ado, let's jump in there and do it. Of course, I gotta find something to put these rocker arms in. Notice, and I'm not too sure why or how. I've got water puddled up down inside here. Not antifreeze, I've got water. How in the world did that get in there? Maybe a bad PCV system? Possible. Okay, with all the head bolts removed now, we're going to get these heads off here and see if we can find out what went on here. Find a place to set these. Find us a good place to pry here. Hopefully I've got most of the coolant out of it where it won't make a big mess. A little bit definitely see a sign on this front cylinder. A little, it looks to be like a little antifreeze. Definitely some antifreeze right there. And it looks like we might have found our worst case scenario. It looks like we might have a cracked head, because this gasket does not look like it's bad right here. I don't see anything that tells me that this head gasket has caused a problem. Looks like it's still sealed up around the water ports just fine. So that's not good. Clean this up and take a much closer look at this. Top of that piston is definitely a little wet. So, looks like we found our problem, just not what we wanted to find. So I'm going to get things kind of cleaned up and organized here to where I can get this head up on the table and we can clean this up a little bit and take a closer look at it.